Back on the SportsMax Zone, the Jamaica Premier League playoffs kicked off over the weekend with a quarter-final round. 4 teams, Mount Pleasant, Harbour, Tivoli and Veer, looking to see who will join Waterhouse and Cavalier in the semi-final round. Here's Ricardo Chambers with the highlights.
The Jamaica Premier League playoffs kicked off with quarter-final first leg action at the UWI JFF Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence on Saturday. Mount Pleasant took a massive step towards the semi-final round after defeating Harbourview by 3-1. It was the Stars of the East who started brighter. Krista J. Daly twice coming close to opening the scoring. But in the 30th minute, 17-year-old Devonte Campbell fired home to give Mount Pleasant the lead. 10 minutes later, veteran Novell Palmer would have thought he equalised, only to be thwarted by a great bit of defending. In the second half, Kesslin Hall doubled Mount Pleasant's advantage, latching on to a ball over the top by Alwyn Harvey after 54 minutes. Harbourview seemed as if they had no answer to the Mount Pleasant attack, and that was again the reality in the 75th minute when Jordan Fletcher put the two-legged tie further out of reach. It will be a mammoth task for Harbourview to rally and overturn this deficit, but substitute Tyrese Williams' late goal in stoppage time certainly will give them hope for the second leg.
I think we lost our discipline tactically. Players weren't tracking back, and that's the result of it. You're playing against a well-experienced team in Mount Pleasant. All due respect to them, and they capitalize on our errors.
In terms of making your way back into this tie, that goal in the last, how will that really help you?
Well, it's a big goal because now you're down 2 instead of 3. So you can score 2 goals in 10 minutes. Anything can happen. Next week is a new ball game. So we're happy that we didn't lose 3-0, to be honest.
No, we need to make sure that we approach the game like we do all the others. Start off with a clean sheet, keep that as long as we can and add to it. Try to win the first half, get in, reorganise, go again and we'll try and win the second half. It's a completely new game. No 2 games are ever the same, so we must make sure that we're fully applied to the situation and we get the result.
The other quarter-final first leg ended all square as Tivoli Gardens and Veer United battered to a 0-0 draw. Tivoli, who stretched their unbeaten run to 8 games, came closest when Devroy Gray spurred the golden opportunity early in the game. Both teams will meet again seeking to secure their spot in the semi-finals. Veer coach Donovan Dookie seemed more satisfied with the result.
I was really excited with the intensity of the game. I was very surprised. Never knew that we had that in us. We have to say a lot of credit to Tivoli. They have a lot of history behind them, and you know, Teddy is still there, Flemings is still there, so they would have imparted that to the youths. But we did well to play with them. They started aggressive very fast. We took a little time to come in the game, but we catch up with them. It was even Stevens until in the latter stage of the second half. I thought we had a good chance to go ahead. It didn't happen for us, but in the end I thought 0-0 was a fair result.
All to play for in the Jamaica Premier League quarter-final round as Waterhouse and Cavalier wait to see who will join them in the semi-finals.
Yeah, exciting action over the weekend, and you can look forward to those second leg matches. They'll be played on Wednesday. We're now joined by football analyst Dewight Jeremiah to discuss the weekend's result. First of all, Dwight, any of those results surprised you over the weekend?
No. If I go back to my comments last week, none of them surprised me.
Yeah,
they're definitely what I would have expected.
All right, let's start with the 0-0 draw between Tivoli and Veer. Obviously, Donovan Dookie, as you heard there in the post-match comments from him, very satisfied with the intensity that his team showed against a Tivoli team that, on form, was looking to be favourites to win that. How much of a chance do you think Veer would have, having done as well as they did in the first leg, to get a scoreless result, to actually topple Tivoli?
I think on the evidence of what we saw in this first leg, a fair enough chance. I think because of how they played, we saw that they, as we expected, were very organized, very much disciplined in their approach, remained compact, but they picked their moments when they went at Tivoli. And there were good opportunities. I think as good as opportunity Tivoli got in this game, Veer got. And I think that's the danger that Tivoli fear, if that they didn't show much creativity to break this Veer team down. And Veer, having picked some moments when they decide to press Tivoli and look to exploit whatever frailty they have in defence, I think they got good opportunities through Harrison and Plummer. and could have stole this one from the first half. So I think it's very, very even, as the scoreline suggests, very balanced. And on the evidence of the first leg, it could go either way if that were to be the case. But we know no two games are the same.
Yeah. You know, Tivoli have not had a scoreless game since the 26th of June, the very first match they played against Mount Pleasant. They have scored in every single match after that until Saturday. And the fact that Vere didn't have their experienced central defender Ricardo Campbell in there, I thought that, you know, analysing the game, it was a great opportunity for Tivoli to keep their scoring form going and get a good result ahead of the second leg.
I just think that Vere, despite missing Campbell, and he's a very good, experienced player, good leader at the back, but the way that Coach Dookie sets his team up, it's really not reliant on one player. Yes, that one player with quality would help to boost his defensive strategies. But it's as a unit that they're very difficult to break down, and they work hard. So it's 11 defenders when he doesn't have the football. And we saw in the game when he went to press early in the first half, early in the second half, once he did not get the joy that he wanted, or the result that he wanted from that early press, he asked his team to go to, rather than a high press, to a half press. And they sat just above the center circle, with Plummer being that highest player, which sets the line for that lower press or medium press. So it's as a unit that Vere is difficult to break down. Yes, it's a lot of work on their legs, and the recovery process now will have to be critical if they're going to come back on Wednesday. It's a short space of time, and that could play a factor, I think, in this one. So Tivoli could get a little more joy, I believe, because I don't think Coach Dookie has the depth in squad to rotate, and so the legs may just begin to go later on.
Yeah, you're talking about legs, but do you get the sense that nerves would have played a factor in Vere's performance? Because, I mean, it was their first playoff match. You also spoke about them, you know, being able to bounce back, a quick turnover time. So, one, did the nerves play a factor, and do you see them bouncing back quickly?
I don't think nerves for them, because they're playing, they see it as another game, and they're so well drilled in this style of play. They believe in what Coach Dookie has instilled in them. And so for them, it's another game where they're going out there to display. I know the MVP of the game, Lewis, he said it was his hardest game, and he just kept tackling and tackling. But he says he's quite willing to do that all the time if it's going to mean keeping a clean sheet. And Coach Dookie, he hinted that if he does not get that breakthrough, he's also looking towards penalty. And with his goalkeeper, I mean, one of the best in the league in Kadeem Davis, then I suspect he's also banking that he has the upper hand if it were to go to penalties.
All right, and in the next game, we had Mount Pleasant overcoming Harbour View 3-1. Do you think Harbour View can overcome the 2-goal deficit in the second leg?
Very difficult, as I hinted the first time around last week on the zone, is that they're just too open for my liking. And I backed them to score. I did say it would be a possibly a 2-1 loss or more. It turned out to be more, 3-1 in the end. That goal in the end is massive because they got it late on, and that would mean that the momentum is with them. I wouldn't want to think that they're the happier of the two teams at the end of the game, but certainly they were in better mood at the end of it, getting that late goal, and that will help them coming into the next tie. The key for them is to be able to find the right balance, to be able to go. They need that next goal in this game. It just cannot go to Mount Pleasant if Harbour View is to have a chance. And I felt they made too many defensive errors. Young Gerald Neal on that second goal, stepping up when there were no pressure on the ball. No communication to Palmer that he needed to press when Devante Campbell approached his 6-yard box. Those are really bad mistake defensively and just too open. I don't think Harbour View have a set shape when they're not with the ball, and that's something that they have to do.
Yeah, Dwight, are you getting the feeling that Mount Pleasant are finding their best form at the right time? Because their 5-2 win over Dunbehold and the close of the regular season was the biggest win they've ever had in Premier League football. Well, the highest scoring win, because they had a couple of 4-goal victories late in 2019, but they've never scored 5 goals in a Premier League match before. And to hammer in 5 against Dunbehold, which, as we know, is a good team, and then follow that with a 3-1 win over Harbour View, suggests that they're getting their scoring boots on at the right time.
They are, and they like teams coming at them. Dunbeholden went at them, scored 2. They had to come from behind twice with Dunbeholden, but they did that and then pull away. With Harbour View, again, was quite open and quite attacking. And Mount Pleasant, they have the tools to pick you apart and to find those gaps. And so, yes, I think they're coming into form at the right time, and they have depth as well in their squad. It was very easy. You felt a lot of things happen in front of them in in terms of Richie and Lane as the two defensive pairing was quite comfortable for them. But yeah, I think Coach Wally Downs, once he had come in, he made them much more solid, and then he built on that and the offensive part of their game coming to the fore. And players, like I said last time out, Jordan Fletcher, he was on the score sheet. I mentioned Keston Hall, he was also on the score sheet. And they have young players, Green and Campbell. So they really are a good balanced unit. And I'm pretty sure if Harbour were to get past them, they would have to provide the performance of the season to beat this Mount Pleasant team in that next leg.
Yeah, Dewight Jeremiah, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to the second leg of these semi-finals on Wednesday. They're going to be pretty special as they look to join Cavalier and Waterhouse in the semis. Thanks for joining us.
I hope they don't go according to plan at least in one game, but my head is telling me they will go.
Okay, thanks, Jeremiah. Mariah, very, very tight going here between these teams. I wonder how much Harbourview is affected by the absence of Ajani Talbot, their central defender and captain, who got a contract to play in third division football in Portugal just last week, and they had to play the last match without him. For Mount Pleasant, they've got their Jordan Fletcher. You heard Dwight Jeremiah mention him just now. He has scored 3 goals in the last 2 matches. A player who had an outstanding schoolboy campaign with Cornwall College, but hasn't transitioned, impressively to the senior level. But there's something about his game at the moment that suggests that he is finding form. At the same time, Mount Pleasant finding form, and Mount Pleasant looking pretty strong.
Definitely looking pretty strong, Lance. And I feel as if the excitement, we're now getting started when it comes to that, because it's anyone's game. Any team can bounce back. And the team without the captain, they would feel it, because you play with a particular player and style throughout the entire tournament. And then at this stage, when you need them the most, they're not there. So even if it doesn't affect them tactically, it will affect them mentally.
Yeah, we go to break, our interactive segment, and a lot more to come on the SportsMax Zone in the last 12 minutes of the show.
Yeah, we're almost done.